first of all, I would want to quickly respond by saying, yes, indeed, water is a complex subject. So I don't think from a BNP perspective, we're going to take it lightly and say that there are simple solutions around. There are no simple solutions. That's very well understood. But purely from the perspective of one water, one institution, overall, I'm aligned with that, right? So, for example, in fact, as per our constitution, water is a municipal subject. It's definitely not a state subject. Unfortunately, today, BWSSB, it's a parastatal of the state government and hence directly comes under the control of the state government, which it should not. It should be coming under the purview of the municipality. In fact, in cities like Chennai, I think the corporation controls the water supply. So, Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board should be an integral part of the BBMP itself. So that's one part, and I fully agree that there has to be, irrespective of the type of water, whether it's surface water or piped water, wastewater or treated water, rainwater, there should be one agency completely responsible for it. But then, as you know, all of you have rightly said, water is a complex subject, and I don't think there is one single answer or there is no one single solution that's going to give us all the answers to the problems that we have faced. So I generally look at it as three levels, more than whether it should be one water, one institution, which it should be. I think that's a no-brainer in my mind. I think the more important thing that we need to be debating is, let's break it into three levels. One, what is it that the government or the institution responsible for water, what should they be doing? What are the set of measures? So that's at one end of the spectrum, which is predominantly policy oriented, which is large systems oriented, etc. If I look at the other extreme, which is individuals, citizens, one point that I agree and disagree on the point that was made is water as a human right. I totally agree that water should be, in fact, we shouldn't even be having this debate because water should be plentifully, freely, and abundantly available. But unfortunately, it is not. And hence, we are, getting into this debate and discussion on what we need to be doing. So, when there is a supply constraint and when there is a constraint of this resource, we have no choice but to talk of what can individuals do about it as well. So, the other extreme or the second part that we need to work on is what are the initiatives that citizens should be taking? More importantly, how should they be incentivized to do the good aspects, or how should they be incentivized to behave well, and how should they be penalized so that they don't indulge in bad practices? We have to think through that. Again, all of these solutions have already been tried and tested out. I think they will work, but that needs a larger scale promotion, and citizens have to be made aware. So we have to figure out a way by which we can implement some of these initiatives at the individual user or the individual household level. That's the other part. Then comes communities. How can we operate as smaller cities, smaller communities, where we can have localized sewage treatment plants, rainwater harvesting systems, groundwater recharge systems, which cannot be done by individual households, which also at a level the governments have shown that they are incapable of fulfilling that requirement. At a community level, it could be a resident welfare association, it could be an apartment complex. There are ways and means of getting it executed today. How do we work on some systems and promote that? Again, incentivize, penalize, and all of this coming together to solve the needs of the city is what we need to work on. So far through Bangalore Apartment Federation, I've actually worked quite a bit on addressing the problem at the community level. But when it comes to individual and the government level, it needs a completely different framework, and politics is the answer to it. And as we all been discussing and acknowledging, it's not a very easy or a simple problem to work on with all the vote banks and the vote bank politics that comes into equation. When you're in politics, you got to play by the rules of the game that are there, and I think that's what AAP has been slowly succumbing to. To sort of give a slightly different perspective, or to say that we will be different, the difference that we are looking at from a BNP perspective is, today the problem is the vote bank that we are talking of, and the level of elections that we are talking of, that is the state level and national level. That's really where all of these things start coming into the picture. And I think all of these people start promising freebies at that large scale. I think at the municipal election level, which is what we are focusing ourselves on, and that's a change that we are trying to bring about, these kind of tall promises don't win votes. At least so far, from whatever I've interacted with people on the ground, these are all not the things that are going to help you win the municipal elections. At least at a large scale, it might have an impact in some pockets and so on. So there are other issues that become important at the municipal level. So I do sincerely hope and pray for the sake of the city and for our own sake that we don't succumb to those pleasures. Having said that, I don't know how we will behave. I hope that we don't get onto that path. Again, the answer to that is today there is one segment of the population, the one significant vote bank that is influencing the larger scale politics. If we want the discourse to change, if we want the narrative to change, we don't have a choice but for the other segment of the population to also start becoming a vote bank and start influencing what they want. Ultimately, electoral politics is all about vote banks and what works for them. Until we don't have the significant other in the electoral politics starting to participate, exercising their franchise, and asking what they want, there are no solutions that are there apart from what you are seeing as freebie politics that's happening today. And the best way to address that is to start organizing ourselves as communities. So at BNP, what we are trying to do is we are trying to get into apartment communities. We are trying to get into layouts in the form of RWAs, in a way, getting them to engage, getting them to start thinking about these things and starting to come out with solutions, making them a part of the process through ward committee and area sabhas. Unless people start voicing out in a formal forum and also backing that up with votes, things are not going to change. And that's the endeavor that we are working on. The moment citizens become aware, the moment citizens have the platform to voice their viewpoints, the moment citizens broadly know what to ask for and push for it, we will see the change will start happening at some point or the other. Which is the so to just give a perspective to all, I don't think at BNP we are looking to find all the solutions ourselves. We are looking to engage citizens. I don't think many of you would be familiar with the concept of area sabhas. But when it comes to municipal governance, the constitution, and subsequently whichever cities act or the states act, when it comes to municipal governance is concerned, it mandates a concept called as area sabhas. Area sabhas is a decentralized form of municipal governance involving citizens at the community level, whether it's a gated community or a layout, whether it's organized in the form of RWAs or not. It's a beautiful concept that's laid down, enshrined in our constitution and in our municipal act. In fact, in Karnataka, we have Karnataka Municipal Corporation Act and the BBMP Act subsequently. All of them talk of this concept of area sabhas. If you're able to implement that, then effectively what happens is, from a BNP perspective, this whole electoral politics, right, whether it's 8K liters free, 20K liters free, in a way, it's taken out of our hands. Citizens start driving the narrative. Citizens start driving the whole policy change that they want implemented. And some of these things can be implemented at a local level also. And that's really what I would like to put forth saying, rather than just relying on electoral politics to bring about the change, if we start working towards decentralizing, involving citizens, making them part of the decision-making process, getting them to participate, change begins from there. Policy changes and behavioral changes both can happen at that level. And this is not a theoretical or a technical construct that I'm building here. First of all, yes, it is a theoretical and technical from a constitution and from act perspective, but practically we have already started implementing it in some areas. It's beginning to show some very good initial results. Our idea is to replicate that at a larger scale, to start with in one ward and then go across in multiple wards and implement that. Then hopefully this whole electoral politics is taken out of our hands and we don't have to succumb to those situations.